Hey you guys, this is my full moon lunar eclipse reading. I actually pulled the cards literally at the peak of the lunar eclipse. I had fallen asleep earlier while doing a meditation and woke up right at the peak, and I was like, oh, let me pull the cards right now, right in the midst of the energies. I have a Reiki video playing in the background that this is all about resistance to abundance. Which I thought was perfectly aligned with the themes that Spirit has going on here. She does speak a little bit, so if you hear her speaking in the background, you can just ignore that and just absorb the energies. This, I know, kind of looks crazy the way it's laid out, but there's a method to it. Like, I have 3 sections of the Black Moon astrology cards. I was inspired to use my moon decks and my astrology deck in honor of the lunar eclipse. Then I have 3 sections of the Moonology deck, and I have 3 sections of the, which one is this called again? Queen of the Moon Oracle. And then I asked for some final thoughts because when I pulled those 3 sections first, it was very heavy in the guidance because there's just a lot going on right now, a lot that people are working through. So Spirit's really talking about that and emphasizing those themes. And so I wanted to round it out with some final thoughts and looking towards the future. So then those are kind of randomly placed, to be honest. I know where they are, but you wouldn't have any idea. So anyway, so let's get into it. Obviously, the primary focus here is this great big love, okay? This is the big picture. This is the focus. Now we're going to expand out and we're going to look at everything Spirit wants you to know right now about everything that's going on. And one thing I can tell you for sure, I mean, it's to be expected just from this, what's going on astrologically of what we're going through right now. Like, we are literally, I'm totally going to take the cards in the order that's correct for the cards. That's not necessarily the correct order for, I'm not going to go one deck at a time is what I'm saying. Okay. So first I want to say that, finish my thought, that there's so much going on right now. Like, we've entered the Mercury retrograde shadow period. There's a lunar eclipse full moon happening right now. In 2 weeks, there is a new moon solar eclipse, which there's a lot of talk online about it being major. I don't know that it's any more major than every other solar eclipse, if I'm being honest. I haven't looked into that either. I haven't asked Spirit. I just tend to think that people make a big deal out of things, not necessarily from that coming from anywhere legitimate. I think that people are making a big deal about it because it's a total solar eclipse. It's over North America. It's been a while since there's been a total one that's visible over North America, and there won't be another one visible over North America for a while. So a lot of people are making a big deal about it, and the government is making a big deal about it because of this. It can affect electrical systems and stuff like that. So they're taking preparations for it for that reason, for how just the same way solar flares can affect the electrical grid and stuff like that. And so people are treating it like, something major is going to happen. But I personally see it as every other solar eclipse. There's 2 solar eclipses every year. They're not all total solar eclipses, but there's 2 solar eclipses every year. Sometimes more. 2 solar and 2 lunar every year. So, and like I said, sometimes more. So I'm treating it the same way. But regardless of that, eclipses have a huge impact in our lives. They bring about significant internal shifts and changes. Combine that they are happening during Mercury retrograde. The lunar eclipse isn't quite fully in it. It's in the shadow period, but the solar eclipse, I'm pretty sure, is going to be at the beginning of Mercury retrograde. So just imagine all of the internal stuff that everybody's going through with that. And as to be expected, there is a lot of releasing of lower energies, let's say. Or if you want to be blunt about it, purging, crying, being angry, getting out what needs to come out. But all of this, as uncomfortable as it is, is a necessary part of your reinvention. This is what you're going through, okay? This is, if you're on a twin flame journey, you're going through this no matter what. Like, you don't have a choice. I'm sorry to tell you. But if you're a twin flame, you don't have a choice. You're going through this major metamorphosis and reinvention of who you are, like completely, in your life, in order to come into inner union and alignment with your true soul self, and then come into union with your twin. The twin flame journey is not really about the relationship with your twin. Everybody wants to make it about that. And I understand that too. Trust me, because I have that same, great, huge love and a great, huge love for my twin and need to be with him, even though I'm not talking about a need in a codependent way. I mean, like that, like he's the only person for me. Like I couldn't be with somebody else. I'm totally fine now, allowing for the healing and the alignment to occur. But anyway, point being that he's the only one for me. So we all have that. But the focus is within and on your internal journey and process. It's not meant to be on your twin and what they're doing and whether or not they're ready and if they're doing what they need to do to be ready. Like the focus is on your internal journey. And when you can get through that and focus on that and go through your reinvention, you will come out the other side ready for union yourself. Okay. So this reading is really talking about the major purges and triggers and things that are coming up right now, brought on by Mercury retrograde and the eclipses, and what you need to do to work through them and to release what needs to be released and to kind of survive this period, to be honest, and then refocus on what you need to be focused on and what is your way forward. Okay. So speaking a little bit more about this Mercury retrograde card, as I already said, this is all about your reinvention period. You may or may not be in communication with your twin. I will say, while there are a lot of people who say this and a lot of people who will go through this, that sometimes Mercury retrograde can mean a lack of communication with your twin. I don't know, maybe because of Mercury retrograde. I don't know if it's because of Mercury retrograde or not, but sometimes it can seem that way. I don't think that automatically applies to everyone. Like, I don't think that you should think if Mercury retrograde is happening, then it means that you won't talk to your twin. That's not necessarily true. It depends on where you guys are at in your journey and process. Because I've had times where during Mercury retrograde, my twin and I have been in communication and haven't had any issues. So it really just depends on what it is that where you guys are at and what you're working through. Okay. But take that into consideration that you might not be in communication and communication might be slow or stalled while you're working through Mercury retrograde. Okay. This is an inner stalemate period. Some of you, whether it's you or your twin, literally are like, stalled right now internally, not knowing what to do, not knowing what steps to take forward. And that's because of where you are at individually in your healing processes. Twins who are feeling that inner stalemate, it's because of the healing that they're working through. It's like they're basically like they're hitting walls in their inner child healing that they are having to work on crumbling. And that's not an easy process. Nobody can hit one of those like walls in like heart chakra healing or womb or sacral chakra healing. And like people don't like easily barrel through those. It takes some working through. It takes some really gaining clarity over painful things that are really hard to face. So it can cause these periods of being stalled while you are trying to work through those emotions, those fears, those wounds in order to release them. Okay. So this is a time to pause and retreat and focus on self-care while healing. Okay. I'll be right back. Okay, so I was just saying how while working through this deep inner healing, it's time to pause and retreat, focus on self-care and healing, and that is going to require you to purge in order to release the wounds and the fears that are the substance of these walls that need to be broken down. Now, I was just talking about you guys are, and I'm seeing it reflected in the collective too. You guys, you and your twins, when I say you guys, are hitting these walls in your heart chakras and sacral chakras, especially, that are in need of like deep inner healing to break them down. And those walls are made up of your fears, your worries, your doubts, and those like core wounds. And so the only way to let them out is to purge and release them. What do you need to release? I pulled out the other cards in the pause, and I just like look at all of these cards that Spirit brought from different decks in alignment with the same message. It's getting to the root of your fears, working through them. What do you need to release? And emotions are running high. Emotions are running high is that purging. And the purging is really a necessary part of the process, because what people do, what humans do, is when they go through traumas and whatnot, they suppress the emotions, and they repress them down deep to places where you can't consciously reach them. You put them into boxes and you shove it down. Especially when you go through these when you're young, when you're children, or you're just young and you don't know how to process them. So the only way to get them out and to release them is for Spirit to open up those boxes and pull them out. And you have to feel them again in order to release them. So emotions are running high because Spirit is opening up those boxes of repressed traumas and wounds, pulling them out to in order to release them, but you got to feel it first. But that's how you work through your fears. You have to face them head on. You don't work through your fears by ignoring them. You have to face them head on, gain clarity over what it is that you're feeling, why, where it's coming from, and working on healing it. Now, one of the biggest things I see is that people point the finger at others when it comes to their fears and their wounds, saying it's somebody else's fault why you feel that way, because, and they'll be referring to their twin or to karmic partners or even to parents or family or anyone whoever it is that is triggering the fear, but they are not the cause of the wound. Okay, they might be what's triggering the wound and the fear, but they're not the cause of it. There is, and to be honest, it doesn't even completely matter what the cause of it is. The cause is going to go back to what originally created that wound in the first place. And that could be, many, many years ago, childhood. It could even be from past lives. But the cause doesn't really matter so much as what matters is facing that it exists. It's part of you. Whether you like it or not, it's part of you, and you have to face it. You have to recognize, I am afraid of not being loved. I'm afraid of abandonment. I'm afraid that I'm not good enough, whatever that is. And then you have to you have to give it love. You have to give your inner child love and say, but that's not true. It's just a fear that has been ingrained in you, but it's not true. You do deserve love. You will be loved. You love yourself anyway. And you are lovable. You have to heal through giving love to those core wounds for yourself and for your twin, okay? Because they have the same ones too. So this is the time to face all that. And to be honest, Spirit's kind of forcing you guys to also. So Spirit gave us both of these protection cards, which stood out to me that two of them came out from two different decks. I will say that there has been some spiritual warfare going on that I'm going to talk about in a different video soon, hopefully later today. But clearly, Spirit just wants you guys to know that regardless of what you're going through, know that you and this connection are protected. Okay, so I have to look at this from two perspectives real quick. First of all twin flames are an integral part of the ascension process. And the twin flame connections take priority with spirit because of that. It's a second stage of the soul development process. It's important for everyone going through that. So, and from that perspective, twin flames are highly protected. Now, it is important to understand that this is not like 100% foolproof protections. There are a lot of people who believe that you can't be harmed at all and your angels and your guides will always protect you from things like black magic and demons and entities and spiritual warfare. That's not true. The most that your spirit team can protect you automatically is in life or death situations. But when it comes to black magic and entity or demonic attacks, for one thing, if it happens, it's part of your soul contract and it's happening for a reason. And it usually has to do with things that need to be cleared from connecting to past lives as well. But it is not automatically protected against. And not enough people are talking about it because your twin flame can be significantly affected and you can be significantly affected. And you won't realize it. You'll just be all mad at your twin for acting in a bizarre way or negative way. And meanwhile, they're under demonic attack or something. Or black magic from karmics, which happens all the time. Spirit does not automatically protect from that. You either have to go through it for a reason, or you need to use your free will to choose to get the help that you need in order to defeat it and protect against it. And what that means depends on each individual case and person, because some people are capable of handling it themselves and some people need help. And it depends on the severity of the cases, because there's 3 different levels of severity, at least from what I'm aware of as of now. And I'm not going to get into all of that right now. I'm kind of tangenting and I don't want to do that. But my point is that when you're dealing with a situation like that, you do need to get help or take bigger action, because while the connection is always protected by the divine, sometimes that means you are being guided to get to certain people to get the help that you need. Okay. Spirit is always going to have your back, is always going to lead you in the direction that you need to go. Sometimes that involves taking bigger steps of defending yourselves in the connection as well. But in any case, know that if we're looking at the twin flame journey as a whole, and what immediately came to me when I was looking at these cards is that while you're going through this period of purging and struggling, when you're going through those deep purges, you get really upset and you feel like you want to give up and you're fed up, especially if you're in limited contact and you're struggling to have faith in your twin and have faith in the journey and the outcome. And that's where spirit is really, in this case, wanting you to know this connection is always protected. You cannot lose your twin flame. You will always find your way back to each other. You just have to understand that you have to work through these periods of healing and self-discovery, and it's necessary to do it alone at times. It's part of the journey and the process. Even Jesus and Mary Magdalene were forced to go through separations. Separations are a normal part of the process. It's not, there are people who say separation isn't necessary. That's not true. Separation is necessary and is an important part of the process. So you have to trust it, have faith in the journey and in your twin, and know that the twin flame connection is always protected and you will always find your way back to each other. It's unbreakable. Okay? Let me actually pause there and start fresh in the next video. I don't have enough seconds to even start this little section here. Okay, next we have the same themes together. 6th house routine, 2nd house owning, patience, discernment, balance, and change. Okay, so the 6th house and the 2nd house to me are really talking about where spirit is telling you to put your focus during this period, okay? Now, obviously, of course, patience is required at this time. And patience is literally part of the meanings of these cards too, okay? So the sixth house, Spirit is wanting you to focus on your day-to-day life and the routines that you are going through with your individual life at this time. That can look different for different people. Some people have children, some don't. Some are totally alone, some have families. So what does this look like for you? That's a good question. But just focus on your day-to-day life. You need to have patience right now, patience combined with trust in the outcome. Knowing you need to function from a place of knowing that everything is going to be okay. And this is just an uncomfortable period of inner journeying. People don't like change. You're going through immense internal change right now, but people don't like change. They like things to be status quo, but that's not how life works, and that's not how you go through the necessary growth that you're meant to go through. So this is just one of those periods of time that is an uncomfortable phase of your journey, and there's nothing that you can do except persevere through it. So what do you need to do while doing that? You need to have patience, have trust, find your balance internally, work on what you need to work on internally in terms of your healing, your growth, your awakening, and just consciously continue to put one foot in front of the other, taking steps in the right direction for your individual path. If you are in denial, not wanting to face things that you need to face, you're just going to slow yourself down and slow your path down. Okay. So you need to have faith and allow for the alignment of everything in your path and in your twin's path so that you can find your way forward together. And just work on the day-to-day and the individual process in the meantime. This is also a focus on your health. Now, you can say physical health, of course, that's always going to be part of it, and that is involved with self-care. But I really am even more so focusing on mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So as you are focusing on your day-to-day life, your routines, the little details of your life, and aligning your life with what your goals and dreams are to manifest the best life for yourself, you also need to look at your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So mental and emotional health is definitely clearly connected to that internal healing process, facing your wounds and your fears, and healing them. But then spiritual health is also important too, because that goes back to the spiritual warfare that I was talking about, or just, it doesn't even have to be warfare. It can be spiritual blocks in your chakras, past life traumas and blocks that need to be healed and released. So it's really looking at, when we say the little details of your life, not just from the 3D perspective, but from the spiritual perspective as well. Digging deep and exploring all of the areas that are potentially in need of some form of healing, and explore spiritual healing to really dig deep into that. Because, I have a bachelor's and master's in psychology, but I will be the first one to tell you that I don't believe that therapy necessarily gets to all of that. It helps. It's definitely better than nothing, but I've seen spiritual healing work really get to the core of the matters. Okay. So that's where you want your focus to be here. And with the second house, things have been out of balance. Once again, the balance card, and they're in need of finding that balance. Okay. You need to prioritize in your life, and you need to, get on the right track for the manifestation of your goals and dreams, like what we were just talking about here, and paying attention to the little details of your life in order to bring things in alignment together. I mean, some of the alignment you're allowing spirit to go to get you through, and some of it is what the choices and steps that you are taking to align with your life purpose path and your soul mission, and bringing about building the foundation of your 3D life and abundance and prosperity. Like, that's something that you have to work on consciously as well. You can't just sit back and completely wait for spirit to drop it in your lap. That's not how it works. Spirit co-creates with you. You have to take steps as well. Okay? If you're not taking steps, if you're just sitting back and waiting, that alignment is not going to come. You have to work with spirit. Okay? And this card, of course, is also about owning this is a 3D world. This is about a focus on your roots and the foundation of your life. Everything that I just said, which it's kind of funny because I wasn't thinking about that when I said it. But yeah, it's aligned with that as well. So you need to ground yourself. You need to work on your life purpose path, your career path, your finances, and just making sure that you are growing from the right place, taking the right steps, and putting in the work. Now, this is also about ownership of your true self and stepping into alignment with your true soul self and soul path. Okay, it's not just randomly doing anything. It's what's right and meant for you. Okay, so as you go through this, remember, have patience, use discernment in all aspects of your life of what's right for you, who you're even listening to in terms of spiritual guidance and help, or where you're getting it, and the people that you are surrounding yourself with, and the situations and environments that you're surrounding yourself with. Use discernment for what is truly right for you. Find that balance internally, both energetically and just in your life overall, and know that spirit is bringing you through a period of massive change. And it is uncomfortable at times, but it's also important and necessary. And be proactive about looking for how you can make the right changes and the necessary changes for yourself so that it's something that you are able to work on with spirit rather than spirit like putting you in a vice and forcing you through the process, like the twin flame journey can also feel like at times. I think the Sagittarius and Taurus card here really makes sense together with I see and I have, because it's like, see all that you have both now and what's coming to you. Okay. Know that you have so much abundance and success aligning for you and coming to you. It's assured and guaranteed for twin flames as long as you don't give up. Now, there's different types of twins. Not everybody is even capable of giving up, but you can be in resistance and fight the journey. And some twin rays do give up. And that's why you hear of people who abandon the journey, because they're twin rays and they are not ready to get through the journey in the process yet. They're not built for it yet. They still have another lifetime to go. But when it comes to twin flames are an important part of the ascension process, and success is guaranteed as long as you don't give up and you do the work and you get through the journey in the process. So you need to work on gaining clarity where needed, see yourself and your soul truths and your soul history clearly, see what is needed for yourself, see what is needed for your twin, see them clearly and love them fully, flaws and all. Find the clarity that you may need for whatever reason, and know that things are in the process of aligning. Exact quote from this book. You're about ready to hit your mark. So things are coming together, but be honest with yourself. Speak your truths, live your truths, free yourself from restrictions that are holding you back, and know that you have good luck on your side. You're just growing beyond your limits right now. So I was just saying that you are being pushed and growing beyond your limits and being pushed to free yourself from restrictions as you are honest with yourself about your soul path and coming into alignment with your soul truths. But I also love how Sagittarius is a a fire element sign, so there's a lot of passion here too. Passion for your twin and passion for stepping into your soul truths, okay? And being who you are truly meant to be, bravely, courageously. Taurus, I do think, is well aligned with this. Even though Taurus is an earth sign, there's also passion and fire here too. And it's the word used is sensuality. So you want to embrace the sensuality of life and bring joy into your life. Enjoy the little things, enjoy the day-to-day things, even if they're mundane at times. Bring that joy and happiness into your life on a day-to-day basis as well. And then also, again, you have that passion with your twin, and you are going to build and grow that sensuality with your twin too when everything comes together. And this is also about aligning for a union. It's aligning for that deeper commitment, deeper awakening, and union, both internally and with your twin. It's birthing, I don't know what the right word is to use here, but we're just going to say birthing something that is going to be abundant for you, whatever that may look like. It might be your twin flame relationship. It might be your life purpose path. It could be all of the above. What is it for you? Being grounded, a focus on being grounded here. There might be, okay, so there were some other random messages with this card too. They was talking about how Taurians have trouble trusting what they can't see. So in this case, I feel like Spirit is saying you have to learn to see and trust the spiritual evidence that your spirit guides are providing for you, okay? And they will provide what you need to help you on your journey. This is also about connecting with fairies. Fairies are strongly connected here as well. So you can consciously connect with them. Just make sure you're requesting only those of the highest light and for your highest best. And this is also about tapping into your creative energy and following your life purpose path, okay? Remember that you and your twin are going through an immense amount of internal growth that I know I've already talked about it in this reading, but it's a journey and a process to get through. So be patient with yourself, be patient with your twin, be understanding, because it's not easy to get through. It's painful, and you have to hold space for each other while you work through this process, and just trusting in each other and trusting in spirit to get you there, and trusting in the outcome, and that this is all for your greatest good. In doing so, surrender surrender your fears, surrender to spirit. Just I don't even know how to say it right now. Just surrender, let go, release, let go of control issues, let go of those mental blocks, and surrender to spirit, which spirit is your own higher self and soul also, okay? It's not just your spirit guides. It's also part of you. It's you at a level that you're not consciously aware of, but you're always connected to. And know that your twin, you are going to go through massive realizations over the course of this process, and so is your twin. And this is going to help propel your twin forward when the time is right and everything is aligned for them to find their way back to you, okay? Trust that these realizations are coming, and they're the key to the next step. This faith card came out when I asked for the final thoughts, but I had to include it here too because the double faith cards. I love it when Spirit does that and pulls the same cards from different decks. So faith. This is all about complete, literally blind faith. And for some of you, Spirit will completely force you into that. Like, what I mean is that it will actually be complete blind faith. I have seen many twins have to be in complete no contact with their twin, or they're forced into that, and that they literally have no evidence whatsoever that everything is changing and aligning the way that it's meant to for them. They literally have to go on complete blind faith that this is the right path for them, that everything is going to come together. And this faith is a huge part of the journey. And faith wounds are one of the biggest wounds that have to be healed and to come into alignment with union. And I have not really seen anyone be able to avoid working through this. Some have it harder than others, depending on the situations. And it can be painful. It can be painful to step into that blind faith, because you know why? Because it requires the complete surrender to trust in spirit, and not needing the evidence, not needing the proof, because you surrender in faith to trusting the outcome, because you're very close to achieving your goal. And I love how we have an eclipse card here, although this is the one that we're in right now. For some reason I was thinking it's a solar one. No, but it's the full moon. This is what we're in. I love how Spirit gave us both the Mercury retrograde card and the full moon eclipse, lunar eclipse, because we're literally in the middle of it as we speak. Conclusions are within reach. Things are going to get better, but you have to have the faith, okay? It's painful, but you have to. But Spirit is also saying obstacles are being lifted. So trust that. This is all part of your destiny and fate. It requires our favorite word, patience and trust. That patience word again. But know that success is assured. This is a long inner voyage of self-discovery that requires faith, patience, and endurance, okay, and trust. And you don't have a choice. I'm sorry. If you're a twin flame, you don't have a choice. Spirit is going to force you through that. And the more that you are in resistance to surrendering to that, to surrendering to the trust and releasing the control issues, the harder it's going to be, the more painful it's going to be, and also the longer it's going to take to align with it. Okay, so this is a huge, huge wound that people have to work through on this journey, okay? And so here we are at the end, and these were the final thoughts that I asked Spirit for in regards to this great big love, okay? You might feel like you're in a void right now, and many of you are. It might be a necessary part of your journey and process right now, but hold on to your faith. Like I was just saying, know that the attraction and the connection between you and your twin you're not crazy. It's real, it's next level, and it is going to help draw you back together exactly when you're meant to. Remember what I said, your twin's going to have realizations as they're working through these internal changes too, and it's going to lead to the right action and unexpected changes coming about that are going to lead you back together. You're not going to see it coming. Spirit doesn't want you to see it coming, okay? But it's going to bring about the abundance, the success. This is the Empress birthing that new chapter, birthing all your dreams coming true, and finding that inner peace, both as individuals and in the connection, okay? Because this is the ultimate love story. And this also represents birthing the results of all your hard work, getting through this journey and this process. Spirit wants you to lean into love, lean into that unconditional love, knowing that love heals all. It will help you heal yourself. It will help you heal your twin. Love yourself and your twin, flaws and all, seeing everything clearly, and I don't know how else to say it other than lovingly, seeing everything clearly and lovingly. Know that Spirit is aligning heart blessings for you, and you can expect that romantic love to grow when everything comes together. This is also about growing your creativity and soul purpose path as well, and expect happiness and contentment, okay? It's all going to come together. It's this one great big love that spans many lifetimes. And this is your destiny. You just have to get through this inner voyage first, okay?